British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good morning, my name is Jonah Jung, and these are your news headlines for 11:30. Beloved Canadian author Robert Munsch recently revealed that he has been approved for medically assisted death. Leah Warren reports on how fans are reacting to the actor's decision.
Robert Munsch, known for children's books Love You Forever and The Paper Bag Princess, revealed in a 2021 interview with the CBC that he had been struggling with dementia. It was then that he signed up for MAID. And in a recent interview with the New York Times, he told the world that he wants to decide when his own story ends. This revelation has ignited an outpour of support and nostalgia from his fans. On a recent post on Munsch's Facebook page, people are sharing what his books meant to them. Crystal Smith writes, quote, "Robert Munsch is such a huge part of all of our childhoods. So happy to be able to share my own copies of his books from when I was a child with my son," end quote. Munsch's impact on Canadians is widely recognized, as he was inducted into the Order of Canada in 1999 and has a star in Canada's Walk of Fame. Leah Warren, BCIT News.
The provincial government has announced that BC Multiculturalism and Anti-Racism Grants program will make communities more inclusive. Local organizations can now apply for the provincial grants if they support fighting racism and promote multicultural understanding. The province says Indigenous, Black, and other racialized groups will be the priority of the grant. BC government says applications will be accepted until 5 p.m. on October 14th. The successful recipients will be notified by March 2026. Transport Minister Chrystia Freeland has announced that she'll resign from the cabinet today and will not run in the next election. But she says the reason for her departure is not to spend time with her family. Media reports say she will be appointed as a special envoy to Ukraine. More details will be announced. The federal government has announced that it'll invest $14.2 million to improve and preserve the famous stern wheeler in Yukon. SS Klondike is one of the historical wooden stern wheeler as it served as the water transportation hub between Yukon and the outside world. Ottawa says the funding will strengthen the structure of the historical site as well as rehabilitating and waterproofing the vessel. The Secretary of the Minister of Northern and Arctic Affairs, Dr. Brendan Hanley, says that the government is proud to preserve Yukon's history through this project. Testifying before the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee, FBI Director Kash Patel says that the Bureau's focus is back where it should be. Patel says that his record of being a public defender and a DOJ liaison officer speaks for itself. A Democratic Senator, Dick Durbin, has expressed his doubts about the new director.
Former Trump officials who served with Mr. Patel warned us he would weaponize the FBI to protect the president's allies and target his critics. And indeed, Director Patel has already inflicted untold damage on the FBI, putting our national security and public safety at risk.
Israel has resumed its military actions in Gaza with the aim to seize all of its territory. With vehicles strapped with mattresses and other necessities, Palestinians in the area fled from their homes Tuesday. Shifa Hospital in Gaza that received the bodies says the strikes by Israeli military led to the deaths of 34 Palestinians today. Yemen has also launched airstrikes to Israel as the strikes pounded Gaza City and alarms rang. A Gaza resident, Radwan Haider, says that it was a heavy night. As U.S. President Donald Trump heads to Windsor in England to meet King Charles, AP correspondent Mustaqim Hashnaz reports on how the royal venue is being prepared.
For all intents and purposes, Windsor might be a small town, but once again it's stepping up to be host of a truly global moment. This week, President Donald Trump will arrive here at Windsor Castle, where King Charles will host him for his second state visit. And the castle and the grounds behind us here are really decorated, dressed up for the occasion. Union Jacks, American flags, but also Trump-themed decorations in shopfront windows, as we've been seeing today.
For today's weather, it'll most likely be sunny with 15 Celsius temperatures and 92% humidity. Residents can leave their jackets off when they go outside. These have been your news headlines for 11:30. My name is Jonah Jung for BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow. This is 1680 The Crow, and you're listening to our feature presentation.
Fandoms have been around for decades. Whether it was Beatlemania or waiting for the next Hunger Games movie, these communities have thrived in many forms, powered by the enthusiasm of dedicated fans. Welcome to Fanfare, exploring online worlds in all formats with your hosts, Kai Garcia and Eden Chipperfield. Join them as they dive deeper into the fandom world and the communities they create. Hello, Kai. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Eden?
I'm doing well. So we are here today to talk about fandoms and what they are, why are people a part of them, why are they attractive to join, and I know that you have quite the experience with being a part of a fandom, which I think people should be enlightened about.
Yeah, I have years of experience in a fandom. I would say I'm not currently in one, but I do have a history for sure.
Yeah, can you share maybe like your top most fangirl moment that you've had?
Yeah, whenever I tell this story, people think I'm crazy, but essentially there was a K-pop group that I really liked, and they were on maybe their last full year before they were going to disband, allegedly. So I said, let me go fly on a plane, go all the way to Thailand, spend a bunch of money so I could meet them, have a picture with them, and go on the barrier and just shout my lungs out. So yeah, that's the normal fandom experience, I guess.
Was it like, I'm assuming obviously it was worth every drop of that to have that experience?
Oh yeah, for sure. People don't realize that they're actually part of fandoms to begin with. Like boys, I don't know if they would admit that liking a sports team is actually being part of a fandom. It's not just a girls thing. Anime is also part of a fandom, so I was wondering if like you had your own instances.
I did go through a spell of being definitely a big fangirl. For those who had the unfortunate pleasure of knowing me in high school, there was a very big period of time where I only wore fandom shirts. Harry Potter, Doctor Who, those are like my main two. But one fandom that I was like very a part of was Once Upon a Time, the show. It was filmed in Steveston, so it was like a bit more of a personal connection, and I actually went to a few filmings that I forced my dad out to. But I ran a fan account that at one point had like over 1,000 followers, which it was just posting edits, posting about the show, theories about the show, and I made friends in the Netherlands I would talk to, which is like kind of wild to think about how I was 15 online, but I was very much a part of that fandom, to the point I had people from the show liking my posts and commenting on the posts, and as like a fangirl, that was basically winning the lottery. I think it's really interesting in my position when I was speaking to people who are part of this fandom, who were like living in Holland, who were living in like Connecticut, it really like shrinks down this idea of time and space, which is something that Dr. Mori Mikami from the University of British Columbia talks about.
You know, online has a strength in that it's always available. It's getting rid of borders that are, you know, like physical, geographical borders. It's also something where a lot of times you can communicate asynchronously. So that means that, you know, you don't have to coordinate your schedules with somebody, and so that you can, you know, both be at the same place at the same time, or be present to have a conversation at the same time. You know, it's something where you can chip in when you have time, and so can other people. Also, for some people, I think they prefer the asynchronous nature because it gives them some time to think about and formulate a response.
The part of social media, which is becoming a tool, is the fact that you can create communities without ever having to meet them, be a part of a group without having to meet them. And I've said this, but like social media is in fact becoming more of a tool. And I think fandom culture has thrived significantly on platforms like Reddit, like Discord. It's very interesting to see that, and we've both been a part of it as well. We've been witnesses of how it is fostered online.
Like during the pandemic, it tightened up, so it got me through tough time. So essentially when I was there, it made me sort of escape reality or made me forget about what I was going through. So I owe it a lot to those fandoms.
I feel like that's a common thread that a lot of people go to or is drawn to, is that they became fans of a certain group or community because of the pandemic. And I think it's really interesting because there's actually studies that have talked about that a lot of people began to find online communities because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And it's funny to see how 5 years on, and I'm sure in the future, we are still seeing after effects of that. I think it allowed more of ability to be able to interact with people without feeling necessary needing to join them in person, having to like be face to face.
Yeah, to add to that, you know, it's not a conventional way of forming relationships. This is only of the digital age. We have to understand that it's not fully perfected or people don't fully understand it. So in terms of how fandoms use it as a way to bridge the gap, to connect people, share the same interests, you know, they find people who like the same things instead of, you know, it breaks down the barrier of actually physically wanting to meet someone or meeting up with all those schedules.
Developing and fostering connections with people who you really care about and care about you, you know, engaging with people who uplift you and who bring joy to your life, and similarly trying to bring joy to their life.
We even talked to a bunch of people. So you went to SFU and you met a bunch of people, and they talked about the importance of social media. Could you like share that experience with us?
Yeah, for sure. So I had the pleasure to speak Heath from SFU Anime, and something that he said is that he actually wasn't a fan of anime until he joined the SFU Anime Club. Like similar to the pandemic, about the pandemic, he basically went to SFU during the middle of lockdown, and he wanted to join a club, and this was one of the last clubs that was standing. And when he went in, he basically just was going to look for friends. And not only did he make the friends, but he picked up this like amazing hobby essentially, and now he's a huge fan of it.
He's the president.
Well, which is kind of incredible how he started, his words, hating it, and then now he's the president of an anime club. And he said that if it wasn't for the people involved in the club, that would have never happened.
Because I love talking to people. Like even before I got into anime, I was already kind of a nerd, right? No, not kind of a nerd. I was totally a nerd. I was into a lot of movies, especially superhero stuff, right? And I just like watching them and then talking to people, like yapping about it. Like the anime club was a really good platform for me to do that, to get into anime and then talk about a bunch of stuff about anime with other people. So yeah, it's the social aspect that's really, really great about the fandoms.
You go from something you don't like to something that's a part of your everyday life. And yeah, that's how fandoms work, honestly. When we met up with the local BCIT anime club, Nathan, when we talked to him, he said that he uses anime as a tool to like motivate himself like in everyday life.
You know the character Bakugo from My Hero Academia? I like how he like always tries his best, always like even though he's like in like the worst position or worst scenario, he like will go all out and like try to succeed no matter what. I like that. I use that as motivation. I think just like anime is for everyone. No matter what you're interested in, there's always a show for you.
You know, these shows are a part of a different reality. It can bring us back to reality as well, and we can apply it to our everyday lives. And you know, like he said, it was so funny when he said animation's not just a show for kids. Animation in general, it's for everyone. And I would say the same thing for fandoms. People would argue that it's a younger generational kind of thing, but with all the people we talk to, different ages, people from different backgrounds, you know, sexualities, ethnic groups, it's inclusive to all, for sure.
For sure, and I think that's why these communities are attractive, that the people want to join them, is because it is a way to connect without having to be in front of someone. And it was something that I found interesting, what you were just saying about Nathan from BCIT Anime, similar to Priscilla from SFU Swifties, who I spoke to today. She was saying essentially that what she appreciates about Taylor Swift's community is how empowering it is for young women, and then she felt that she saw a place in that too.
I think it's really nice that her music is like so universal. Like I feel like people who listen to Taylor can all really like apply her music to their lives and like connect through the shared experiences and bonding over like things that a lot of girls go through, a lot of people go through, and that's like.
When we talked to the UBC professor about how social media can bring these relationships together, I found it interesting. She brought it to the fact where these are meaningful relationships as well, and the divide and the barriers that was once, in an in real life relationship are gone.
Yeah, for sure. And I think something that I had my eyes opened about, and I won't speak for you, but I think that was something that you experienced, was how positive interactions were. Because I hear a lot about the negative. I was almost digging for the, hey, what are the bad interactions you've had? Have you had negative experiences? And overwhelmingly, the answer was no. That surprised me in the best way.
I could say it was a past of my life and I'm no longer actively in one. It was a part of my life that I owe a lot to. During the pandemic, when it was a hard time, it got me through it. I met the most amazing friends from all around the world. I was able to travel with them. I bonded with my in real life friends about these topics, and it fostered so much relationships and memories that, I made, and I'll remember till the day I die.
Thank you so much for listening to our chatcast. This has been Eden and Kai, and thank you for listening to Fanfare, exploring online worlds in all formats.